process questions then. These are a reflection of all of the, or a reflection of having a good, effective, critical reading process. Because what having a good critical reading process does for us is it makes summarizing so much. That's why we spend a lot of time on your reading skills in this class. Because one, it directly affects how well you're able to summarize information, and if you have a good critical reading process, you're looking at really good examples of argumentation and persuasion. So good examples for our modeling, for our imitation that we're going to be doing. It's not just reading the information, but thinking about the information, but thinking about how it is presented. So the reading process questions that you're going to be going through in this class are a reflection of a good process. And hopefully if you go through this process a couple of times, it becomes ingrained in you. And now this process is not just comprehension questions. You'll see in the syllabus, here we go, that this process has some very deliberate steps. So we're going to be reading like, let's see, here we go. A lot of academic, scientific, and professional articles, plus some essays and things like that. You'll see that there are very specific directions followed by very specific questions. This process is so deliberate that you don't skip, you don't go to the next step until you've answered these questions. Usually how it goes is you read everything at the beginning, everything before the essay, or everything before the article, everything before the body. So the abstract, the introduction, you skim over tables, charts, pictures, things like that. And then the second step is you read everything after the body. You read the conclusion. I really like this statement right here. Remember, you don't read nonfiction for suspense. You're reading it for information. Now, it would really suck if you skip to the end of a fiction book or the end of a movie and to see how it ended. It takes away all of the suspense, or a lot of the suspense. Not all of it, but a lot of the suspense. But again, you don't read science for the suspense. You're reading it for the information. So you read everything at the beginning once, that tells you the most important information. You read everything at the end, and that repeats the most important information. And then you read the essay. So you're reading the most important information 3 times, and then you're also thinking about it. You're making predictions. And that is what is key to a critical reading process, is making predictions and measuring your predictions. See how they measure up after you've read. It helps you to see relationships better, logical, cognitive relationships that the writer is making between their argument and the evidence and the support that they're bringing up, the conclusions that they come to. And then, of course, some reflection, thinking about what you've read, what it showed. That's essentially the process. Read everything before the body, read everything after the body, and then finally you read the body. And all the while, after each step, you're making predictions. You're looking at the techniques and the structure of things going on. That way, you already know what it is you need to write about before you before you even read it. I mean, how many times have you read something and then 5 minutes later you're like, wait, what? What did I just read? I don't remember anything that I just read. I looked at the words and I read the words out loud or in my head, and I understand the words, but I don't understand what's going on behind the words. It's because you haven't set yourself up to understand the rhetorical situation, the author, the audience, the large organizational structure of the thing, the argument first. You're reading it for suspense when you should have been reading it for information. Okay, so let's take the whole suspense thing out of it. Get all the you're not cheating by looking at the end. A nice, effective reading process. Let me tell you a story about when I was working on my PhD. We have something called comprehensive exams, and during comprehensive exams, we are assigned. I was assigned at least about 120 books and articles and essays to read. And after reading these, after taking a few months and reading these, I was going to be tested over 1 week, 3 days of written exams, and 4 days, and 1 day of oral exams over all 120 of these books. What saved me was this reading process. I followed this process for every single thing that I read, and I was able to remember so much and recall so much and take really good summarizing notes, because I understood not just what was said but how it was said, and I was able to imitate that writing in my own writing during the exams. Now, I know not a lot of you are going to be going into your PhD and maybe doing an exam, a crazy, insane exam process like that, but I hope the lesson is there, that once this process becomes ingrained, you become such a better reader, and that reader translates into your writing skills, particularly your summarizing skills. So we're going to start off this week a little slow with that to get you a little used to this reading process. You're going to be choosing one of the 2 articles this week, and then going through part of the process, not all of it just yet, but part of the process with one of those articles, and then we'll kind of build from there. So in your reading process questions, what I'm looking for is this kind of information. What are you understanding about the rhetorical situation? Who the audience is? Do you see yourself as part of the audience? Who is the writer? What is their credibility? What makes them, before you've even read it, what gives them the credibility to research and write on this topic? What do you see as the overall purpose? What are they trying to get you to agree to or cooperate with? How are they persuading the audience? What are they teaching you? Are they entertaining you at all? I don't really think that's one of the questions, but something to think about. And then, of course, the message. How is it being presented? What are some of the things in terms of like organization, in terms of style, are they doing to help communicate this message? Do they have these parts of this overall structure in there? So those are the things I'm going to be asking you to reflect on. I'm going to ask you to, 1, summarize a lot of that information, and then I want you to, do you agree with it? What is your particular argument? So when you, let's see if I can jump up on here. So you're going to choose either the Chapin or the Franklin article, and I just boiled it down right now to just a 2-step process, and then we'll kind of build up from there. But so you'll do step 1 first, write your answer, and then do step 2. And you might want to go ahead and type this up, type your responses in another document, or write them down first before you click on that, because you may not be able to come back to look at exactly what's being asked of you. But these questions are also in the syllabus also. But these are I've kind of summarized the questions for a little bit at this point. And then this is important. For this last question right down here, I want you to write down a summary statement including a list of questions, interesting points, or areas that you're confused about. I want you to take one question or one interesting point or one area that you're confused about, and I want you to post it to the discussion board forum for either Chapin or Franklin, depending on which essay you choose to read. Just take one and put them up there, and just so other people can see what other people are thinking about in terms of the articles. You're not required to answer or respond to anybody else's, but this is part of this particular process that I want you to be thinking about, the communal aspect of writing. All right, so that's kind of a maybe more clearer overview of what we'll be doing specifically with the writing and the reading this semester. We won't get to the writing aspect just yet. This week is still a lot about reading and doing some of the things with the reading. Next week we're going to jump into your writing process, your particular individual writing process, and get more do more with style. Talk specifically more about the scientific style. So next week will be a good week also. So again, not much this week because of the holiday. So just a couple short things to read, and then the quiz will be up later.